What's happening, guys? What's going on YouTube? Thank you for tuning into Rules for Rebels. Kind of what I wanted to do in today's video, this is going to be kind of a little vlog type deal, I guess. I wanted to talk about my first experience with my first ICO. There's a lot of new people coming into the cryptocurrency space right now, a lot of people getting interested in Bitcoin, and typically once people get interested in Bitcoin, then they start getting interested in altcoins. So like after somebody signs up for Coinbase, gets comfortable using Coinbase, they'll oftentimes move over to GDAX, and once they get comfortable with GDAX, they'll oftentimes move over to like Bittrex and start trading altcoins. And kind of the next step for a lot of people is, I want bigger gains, I'm going to look for either like an ICO, or sometimes even these like HYP or HYIP programs like BitConnect and things like that. Before I start talking about my first ICO experience, which I'm going to talk about like how I learned about it, why I decided to get into it, as well as what the experience has been like, which it's been very, very negative. But before I talk about that, I just wanted to say, let's think about this. So the cryptocurrency space as a whole is very risky and very volatile, right? It's much more advanced than it was a couple years ago, but it's still in its infancy. Now, when I think about cryptocurrencies, I think of like Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum as being kind of like the main three, or I would almost compare them to being like large cap stocks, like if we were talking in regards to in relation to the stock market. Now, with the stock market, oftentimes large caps, they're more stable, they're more established, they're safer, but a lot of times with the small caps, there's a little bit more risk, but that's where you're going to get your bigger gains, right? Now, I look at like Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum as being more like large caps, and then some of the altcoins as being more like mid caps, and you have the small caps. Now, Bitcoin and things like that are, you know, risky enough. I would say they're more risky than a lot of other investments, but they're also safer than a lot of other things in the crypto space. Now, Litecoin is up over 6,000% on the year. Bitcoin is up, I don't even know what it is percentage-wise. I want to say at least 3,000%. So there is plenty of opportunities to make money off buying the more stable or safer coins. So do you really need to venture off and start trying to make 12% a day with HYP programs, or do you really need to try to get in on the next ICO? You know, that decision at the end of the day is yours to make. However, anytime I've kind of gotten greedy in this space or said, I want to try to get even more out of this, a lot of times it doesn't work out for the best. And this ICO is one example. Another example, I did a Steemit post, and I think I've made a couple YouTube videos, basically where I tried two different HYP or HYIP programs. The first was Laser Online, they exit scammed already. The other one is BTC Hash. I was going to make another video about them to warn you guys. I only threw 50 bucks into each one. It was basically, I went in expecting to lose the money. My Steemit post was actually titled, I'm going to lose $50 to Laser Online so that you don't have to. So, I mean, I went into this fully expecting to lose, but sure enough, I did wind up losing. I haven't tried BitConnect. I think BitConnect is the one that may have actually paid out and made some money, but again, probably not something I'm interested in doing. So, anyhow, the ICO I got involved with was called DMarket. Now, some of you guys are probably like, what the heck is that? I've never heard about it. And others of you are probably like, Rebels, man, why did you invest in that? So I still don't have my coins or tokens yet. I sent the money way back August, I believe it's August 15th or August 17th. The reason I got involved with it, I turned a buddy of mine onto crypto probably back in June or July. And you guys know how it is, right? Like, somebody's been in crypto for 2 weeks and now they're an expert on the space. But what I will say about my buddy, he is somebody who's not afraid to throw money into something. He will go balls to the wall. And when he finds something interesting or something intriguing or some new project he wants to take on, whether it's crypto or entrepreneurial things, like, he goes full speed ahead. He'll have a website launched in one day. So he's definitely great about taking action. So anyhow, he gets into the crypto space, starts trading and stuff. I gave him a bunch of picks, and he's somebody he's more confident in my picks than I am. You know, if I have a feeling about a small cap, or what I'll call a small cap altcoin, I might throw a little bit of money into it. I might take some profits and throw a little bit in and say, hey, if this pays off, it could pay off big time. Well, this buddy of mine, he'll go, all in, drop a couple of grand or drop big money into like something that I think is very speculative. So anyhow, he made a lot of money off my picks. He somehow got involved in some kind of, like, I don't know if it was a Bitcoin gambling thing or something where you play a game and you can earn Bitcoins. Somehow he got involved in a project like that, and he was getting a lot of like cheap Bitcoins, well under value. So he was selling them to me and my friend for hundreds of dollars under spot price or whatever you want to say. So I think when Bitcoin was at like 4,500, he was selling us Bitcoins for like 3,900. You know, anywhere from $200 to $500 under value is what he was selling us Bitcoins for. So this cat, he's somebody who he like exaggerates a lot. You never really know what you can believe from him. But after like weeks of buying Bitcoins from him for hundreds of dollars under value, I was getting them for myself. I could literally buy a Bitcoin off him, turn around and sell it on Coinbase or GDAX or whatever, and make a quick $300-400. Or if I wanted to hold it, you know, I had a built-in cushion already. So that's what I was doing. I bought a couple for my dad. And so after a couple weeks of this, I'm like, well, you know, maybe he is onto something. So then he starts telling me about this new ICO in the gaming space called DMarket. And I guess what DMarket is, and I should probably know more about it since I invested in it, but what they want to do is be able to monetize digital items. So you guys have probably all heard stories about in some online game or computer game or whatever, or even Minecraft, like people set up their own Minecraft worlds and charge people hundreds of dollars a month to play in them. People in some other, I'm not really a gamer, so I don't know the games, but there was a story a while back on Reddit about some guy who bought like a digital house on a video game for like $200,000. Everybody said he was stupid, and like a couple weeks later he sold it for $600,000. So I do know there is big money in like selling like game skins and guns and like virtual items in games, virtual real estate in games. I do know that's a big space. He was talking about it. He's like, this ICO is going to be big. He's like, here's my chance to kind of pay you back for all the good picks that you've given me. You've made me a lot of money, etc. So kind of against my better, you know, normally I would research something for myself, but he was so confident in it. He was actually into the gaming space himself, and I saw him getting coins. So I'm like, you know what, I'm going to listen to him and take his advice on this one. So I invested in the ICO back on August 15th, August 17th. Now, going into it, I knew that I wasn't going to get my tokens till November. I don't have a ton of experience in ICOs, but typically what I've seen from a lot and what I've heard from people is that a lot of ICOs will run a couple days, maybe even a week or a couple weeks, and then pretty much almost immediately they do a quick audit and give you your coins or give you your tokens. Well, that's something that was a little bit different with DMarket. Is the ICO was August 17th. Then they were going to have a second phase, and then tokens weren't going to be released till November, and I think it was going to be a couple weeks after that before you could actually trade tokens or before they went on an exchange. So I knew this going in, so I can't be upset about the long period of time before they passed out my tokens, right? So I bought into the ICO. I think initially I put about $350 into it. I think like the second day of it, I was like, you know what? If this is going to go big, I'd like to have a little bit more in. So I throw $200 more into it. Now they did give you, I believe it was a 15% bonus on the coins or the tokens. So I'm thinking, okay, you know, at the very least, I'm up 15% from the start. Even if it like loses a little bit of money, I can dump them and probably get out even or with a small profit. So that was kind of my thought process going in. So anyhow, November rolls around, right? I was kind of impatient. I wanted my tokens, but you know, I knew from the start it was going to take a while to get them. So November rolls around. I forget if they said November 3rd, whatever the date was. The date that they're supposed to pass out tokens comes around. Oh, we're going to extend the token sale like another 2 weeks, which pretty much is like, we haven't raised enough money, we want to get some more money in. So, okay, you know, I'm kind of annoyed about that, but whatever, they extend it for 2 weeks. Then phase 2 of the token sale, phase 2 of the token sale starts, and so that basically extends it pretty much to the end of November. So I'm expecting to get these tokens beginning of November. At this point, we're at the end of November. We still haven't gotten the tokens. Sometime in early December, they partner with another company called Dream Something, and they start another ICO and another fundraising project. So before they've even completed the first ICO that they're doing, they're already raising money for a new project, which I really don't like that, right? Like, you haven't even completed this project that my money's tied up in, and you're already diverting your focus and starting something else. So that kind of pissed me off a little bit. People were kind of starting to get a little bit impatient, myself included. I was being kind of really critical of them on like Reddit and Telegram and things like that. And everybody else is kind of like, great job, team. Like, I'd rather have you take time and do this right, and you know, da 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 da. So anyhow, then they're like, okay, we're gonna pass the tokens out. We have to complete the audit first. So then they have an audit that drags on for like a week or 10 days, which audits shouldn't take that long. That time passes. Hey guys, we're finally gonna give you your tokens. So I'm like, okay, cool, we're gonna get our. So then they tell us, all you gotta do is log into DMarket on blah, blah, blah date and click the button that says get tokens. And I should mention that prior to this, I had to like authenticate my Ethereum wallet address. Big headache there as well. When I went to do it, I kept getting error. Basically, you have to like sign a message to verify that you own the wallet. So I went to do that, kept having issues, contacted support. One thing I will say about support, so that's the only good thing I have to say about this project, is support has been very responsive. Anytime I've emailed them, like within 2 to 3 minutes, I get an email back. And I do notice on Telegram, they're pretty responsive with people too. So that's the one good thing I can say about them, is they have been responsive and the support has been good. But anyhow, I contacted them. I'm like, I can't verify my wallet. So after a bunch of back and forth, I happened to mention that I used my Trezor to send my coins over to DMarket initially, and it's a Trezor address that I want to verify. Well, they come back to me, they're like, oh, you know what, there's a known bug. People who have Trezors are having trouble verifying. So they're like, we'll have to do it manually. Send yourself, you know, 0.0000007 Ethereum, and then send us a transaction ID so that we can basically, you know, a way of verifying that I control or I own that wallet. So I go ahead and do that. It still takes like another 2 weeks before they do the manual process of verifying my account. Then they say, okay, we're going to release tokens today. Go on and click the button that says get my tokens or claim tokens or whatever. So I go and click that, and nothing really happens. And I think people, they did tell us, they're like, we're going to pass the tokens out in waves. You know, so not everyone's going to get them at once. They're going to, you know, send them out over the course of a week or something. Well, a couple days after everybody hits tokens and nobody gets their tokens, we then hear from DMarket, oh yeah, the token thing hasn't started. You know, so basically this like click a button is basically for anybody who's anxious, we're going to appease you by giving you some pointless activity to do, but we're still not going to pass out the tokens. So anyhow, then they tell us, okay, tokens are going to begin Monday. So I guess after all of this, you know, I gave them the money back August 15th, August 17th. Here we are, what, December 18th. I was expecting to have had the tokens early November, and I was expecting by probably late November, early December for those tokens to be trading on an exchange. Here we are, December 18th. I still don't have my tokens. Apparently today, they're actually going to start passing them out in waves. I mean, I'm not a huge buyer, so I imagine I'll probably be towards the end. So hopefully, fingers crossed, towards the end of this week, I'll have my DMarket tokens. As far as like what exchange we go on, if they do not get on Polonia, ideally Bittrex, but if they don't get on Bittrex, Poloniex, or Kraken, that pretty much spells the death of this token, at least for the quite some time, because you know, if they can eventually get on one of those exchanges, maybe it'll go up in value. But you know, they're saying, okay, we guarantee you guys we're going to get you on a top 10 exchange. Now, you know, there's really only probably 2 or 3 exchanges I would want to be on, or that would be worthwhile to be on. So a lot of people are speculating that HitBTC is going to be the exchange that we wind up going on. HitBTC, it's not a terrible exchange. I mean, I have used them in the past. One thing I do like about them, they have always allowed us to sell our Bitcoin Cash or Bitcoin Gold futures and get a lot more money than after their release. So that's one good thing about HitBTC. But I mean, at the end of the day, HitBTC is not one of the top 3 and not even one of the top 5 exchanges. I was kind of jokingly saying on Telegram, like, watch them get us on like Yobit. And Yobit is kind of a joke of an exchange. I mean, that would really spell the death of the token or the coin. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't look promising that we're going to get on Bittrex, Poloniex, or Kraken, which I think if it doesn't get on one of those exchanges, it's not going to be a very profitable thing. Now, what I'm mainly looking at here is opportunity cost. So yeah, I'm throwing in $550, but the opportunity cost. So back at the time, I threw in, what, 300 plus another 200. You know, back at the time, I threw in $500 worth of, I think I loaded it partly with Ethereum, partly with Bitcoin. But if you look at what, you know, obviously Bitcoin and Ethereum have risen a lot since I initially got in on the ICO. So that $500 that I put in today would be worth, I don't know, I did the math a couple weeks ago and it was about $1,500. Bitcoin and Ethereum have continued to rise. So I'm thinking today it's probably more like almost $2,000. Now, the DMarket coin hasn't been live to grow in value or to take advantage of this this alt bull market that we have going on. So I have a feeling that, basically, long story short, I would have been better off holding my Bitcoin and Ethereum than I would tying it up for months to get these DMarket tokens that are, from what it looks like, going to be kind of a flop. So in regards to kind of getting back to the beginning of this conversation, there is a lot of money out there to be made on bigger, we'll call them larger cap cryptocurrencies. A lot of money to be made on Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum. You really don't need to take these big risks of buying ICOs and buying shit coins and things like that. I mean, if you want to, I mean, it's your money, do what you want to do. But there's plenty of money to be made in the quote-unquote safer cryptos to not have to do like the HYP programs and everything else. So I would have had huge gains just sitting on that Ethereum and that Bitcoin, and I may have kind of screwed myself by putting it into DMarket. And like I said, I didn't do a whole lot of research on DMarket up front, but like looking back, some big red flags or some things to look for, do they have a quality website? Does the project actually seem worthwhile? Like, does it seem like there's actually a need for the project? I'll give you an example. One thing I don't like with a lot of these cryptocurrencies is like Bitcoin, Litecoin, Vertcoin. These are all currency coins, right? So you can use them to buy services. You can use them to pay a freelancer. You can use them to buy a hat online. Something that I'm seeing less now, but a few weeks ago and even in the past year, is like people wanting to roll out a coin for every service or for every industry out there. So like, hey, we have a dental coin for paying dentists. We have a music coin for buying music. We have a video game coin for buying, like, I don't feel like every industry needs its own coin. Like, why can't we just use Litecoin to pay for everything? So any project like that, I personally wouldn't be involved in because I just don't see like a use case for it or a need for it. So make sure like the website is well put together. Make sure the project makes sense. Make sure the website doesn't look like it was put together by somebody and the copy was put together by somebody who speaks English as a third language. Like, make sure it actually makes sense. Read the white paper, etc., etc., etc. And had I done that, I mean, there are typos and misspellings and grammatical errors all over their website. They haven't done a lot of PR or a lot of marketing to promote the coin. I think just the sheer amount of time that's passed between the offering and now, like, you can't keep hype going for that long. That's why ICOs have to happen in a shorter period of time. So I mean, looking back, just knowing the time frame, that should have been an immediate turnoff for me as well. And then in terms of the video game space, I'm not saying that there's not a market for that or not a need for that, but I guess in the time that it's taken DMarket to complete their ICO, there's two new apps or two new cryptos out there, tokens out there. One is called Engine and the other one is called Wax. I guess they do similar things to what DMarket does, and I believe they're either live or further along with their project. I think they may have better partnerships in the gaming industry. So yeah, I mean, there's a ton of red flags for DMarket. I kind of trusted a buddy of mine. I was kind of impressed that he was getting all these Bitcoins undervalued from some kind of video game thing. I kind of figured he must know what he was talking about, and decided to go in without kind of really doing my own research and my own due diligence. So that was kind of my first ICO experience. If you guys have any questions about DMarket, about ICOs, etc., feel free to drop them in the comment section below. I just kind of wanted to share my experience as far as like what the actual process is of investing in an ICO. If anybody's like completely new, typically they're funded in Ethereum. Sometimes you might be able to fund them in Bitcoin. There's all types of websites out there that list upcoming ICOs. If you go to their website, they'll typically tell you how to participate. Typically, you'll set up like an account on their website or a login. They'll then give you your own address to send in your Ethereum or possibly Bitcoin. You'll send your money into them. They'll kind of credit you on the back end with coins or tokens, and then typically ICOs normally don't drag out for months at a time. Typically within a couple of days, they'll release the tokens. The tokens or the coins will hit an exchange after that, and then you can trade them, and hopefully they go up in value. But yeah, just overall not very impressed with the whole situation with DMarket. It's been kind of funny. Like I said earlier, everybody was kind of like positive and like, hey, great job team, blah blah blah, and like even after all this waiting, and more recently within the past couple days when the audit wound up dragging on for like 2 weeks, and then after that when they said that we were going to get our tokens on one day and really all we were doing is hitting a button to get them a week or 10 days later, now other people are finally starting to get frustrated. And I see people on Telegram like, oh, I wonder if we'll ever get these coins. Like, hey team, you really botched this thing. Like, you know, you must think that we're the most patient investors in the world because this thing. So it seems like now people are kind of turning on the DMarket team a little bit. There are still a few kind of rah-rah people. One more thing I was going to mention about Telegram. So, you know, there's all types. I never really got too into like Telegram, or what are the other like messaging? There's not Periscope, Telegram. I forget. Anyhow, you guys know there's a couple of different like messaging apps that are popular in the cryptocurrency space. I never really got into them. I just recently started using Telegram, and while a lot of cryptocurrencies and developers do have like active Reddit communities, and it's pretty cool on there, Telegram is kind of a cool app. You can download it. It's like a group messaging app, and you can sign up or like join to kind of follow the groups of coins you like. So right now I'm signed up on like the DMarket one. I'm signed up to monitor like Navcoin, Electronium. And what's kind of cool about it is, it's not like Reddit where you're going to get all these articles and things, but it's like people can actually ask the developers and the team questions directly and get answers kind of in real time, like almost over text message. If it's something more private or you have like a support issue, they'll typically follow up with you via like a private message through Telegram. But I mean, if you want kind of the most up-to-date news and kind of direct contact with the developers, Telegram is kind of a good place where most cryptos developers are kind of interacting with the community and things like that. And that's kind of one thing that you can judge coins as a whole as well as ICOs on, is like, is there an active community, and are the developers keeping like in good contact with people or keeping good communication lines open with people? So yeah, I guess this is kind of a rambling video, but that was basically my first ICO experience. The ICO was DMarket. If any of you guys got in on this one, let me know. If any of you guys like maybe are more into the gaming space and know a little bit more about it, feel free to drop a comment with your thoughts on it, if you think it's good, if you think it's garbage, etc. But yeah, that was the experience. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button below. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.